Ohio Sports Gazette. I'm Justin Thomas. Today we're talking about the Cincinnati Bearcats getting the bowl victory on the last day of 2018. It was the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman, and the Bearcats, a familiar foe in their bowl season extravaganzas, as it's the Virginia Tech Hokies that they would play here in this game in Annapolis, Maryland. And let's get right down to it. Bearcats 35-31 victors over the Hokies. Here's how it all went down. So the Hokies actually got the ball first and went it down and scored a touchdown their opening drive. Eric Kuma had a 21-yard touchdown pass from Ryan Willis. Hokies took a 7-0 lead, but the Bearcats came back down. Charles McClellan, he had a 38-yard pass from Desmond Ritter that would make it 7-7 after the first quarter play. Now, Desmond Ritter actually would get hurt in this first quarter and would leave the game. That meant that backup quarterback Hayden Moore would come in for the Bearcats, and Hayden Moore, he was a starter last year, moved kind of to the backup role this year as Desmond Ritter took the starting job. But the word on the street is they both have a really good relationship, and it turns out that's really what you need, have a lot of good camaraderie in those situations. And in the end, Hayden Moore now stepping in as his final season with the Bearcats. He would have to take the job and get the job done for the Bearcats, and he ultimately would. Khalil Lewis, to open up the second quarter, had a big time fumble recovery. Michael Warren actually had the ball from 1 yard out, got stripped, ball went out into the end zone, and Khalil Lewis jumped on it for the Bearcats for the touchdown. So that actually turned out to be a big play. Bearcats get the 14-7 lead. Then Virginia Tech came down. Stephen Peoples, a 1 yard touchdown run, made it 14-14. Right before the half, Virginia Tech looking to try and extend their lead. Brian Johnson would kick a field goal that would be good, but hold on a second. Luke Fickell called the timeout to ice the kicker, so they come back, they redo it, and Johnson misses this time. So it stays 14-14 at the half. A good call there by Fickell to ice the kicker. The third quarter, Brian Johnson would make a field goal, 28 yards out, made it 17-14 in favor of the Hokies, but the Bearcats came down. Michael Warren had a 40-yard touchdown run that made it 21-17 in favor of the Bearcats. Virginia Tech, not to be outdone though. Chris Cunningham, a 2 yard pass from Ryan Willis would put the Hokies back in the lead, 24-21. This game had a Military Bowl record 8 lead changes. We're still getting to the last couple here in the fourth quarter. Bearcats in. Hayden Moore, a 19-yard touchdown run, made it 28-24 in favor of the Bearcats, but Ryan Willis would return the favor. 5 yard touchdown run for Virginia Tech, made it 31-28. Bearcats, though, not to be outdone. Hayden Moore trying to get something happen. Actually, Virginia Tech would intercept the ball, but the defense then would stand on his head. This is all within about the 10-yard line. And on a 4th and 1 from about the 3 yard line, the Bearcats defense comes in, they bring all the pressure, stand up John to the defensive head coach. Luke Fickell always been a defensive-minded guy. He's got Marcus Freeman in there, the former Ohio State Buckeye as well, as the defensive coordinator. He's very aggressive. Bearcats brought some heat, and Willis would actually fumble the football. Bearcats would recover, so Hokies unable to extend their lead there, and then it would go down. Bearcats get the job done. It's Michael Warren. Once again, the big man himself set a school record for how many rushing touchdowns he had this year for Cincinnati. Michael Warren punches it in from 8 yards out, made it 35-31 with a buck 29 to go. And then the defense comes up big, ends up being Wiggins getting the game-winning interception to help the Bearcats polish off a 35-31 win over Virginia Tech. So a very good quality win here for the Bearcats. Let's take a look here at some of the overall statistics for some of the players. As I mentioned earlier, Desmond Ritter was hurt in the first quarter. He finished 4 for 7, 86 yards in that touchdown pass to McClelland. Hayden Moore getting the job done as a senior, stepping in the back quarterback role, but he came in a huge way today, 11 for 25, 120 yards. He did have that one interception, but he did have a touchdown run himself. Looking at the rushing attack, Michael Warren, 20 carries for 166 yards. He had 2 touchdowns on the day. His longest was that 40-yard touchdown run. Hayden Moore then, 9 for 64 yards with a touchdown run. That was his longest, 2 at 19. Desmond Ritter did have a rush for 9 yards. Davon Thomas, 3 rushes for 9 yards as well on the day. Now, looking at some of these other big receiving, McClellan had that 2 receptions, 47 yards. He did have the touchdown there. Medeiros also had a couple receptions, as did Trent Cloud, 3 of them on a key drive that helped the Bearcats stay alive when things were getting kind of crazy. Bearcats did have a couple couple wild fumbles where they lost like 3 fumbles, but luckily they fell on each one of them. That one Lewis had was in the end zone, so that was big time as well. So Bearcats getting the job done here with a win, 35 to 31. A very great end to the season, an 11-win season now for Luke Fickell in just his second season in Cincinnati. 11-2, the overall record for the Bearcats. I'm excited to see where the Bearcats continue on moving here in the next couple of seasons. As always, this is the Ohio Sports Gazette. You can follow the Cincinnati Bearcats here online at ohiosportsgazette.com with journalistic blogs. Also, podcasts can be found and available on ohiosportsgazette.com as well as Anchor Podcast and YouTube. So follow us for everything dealing with all Ohio sports here on Ohio Sports Gazette. As always, I'm Justin Thomas.